Hey everybody, welcome to Maine Wedding Buzz, and I'm really excited because today we're going to be talking with photographers, and we have Russell, Caron, Wedding Photography, and we have Russell and Liz today. So tell me a little bit about, individually, how you both got started.
Well, I'll go first.
Sure.
I loved photography ever since I was a kid. My mother took a lot of snapshots with her camera. Then my older brothers got into photography, gave me the eye for it. One of my first jobs after high school was selling cameras, and it was in a store that had a lot of young women of marrying age. And the next thing I knew is they said, photograph my wedding. And the first time I said, well, I've never photographed a wedding before, and they assured me, you'll do fine. And I guess it's funny, a lot of wedding photographers got that kind of a start.
Wow.
So I did this as a teenager. I shot quite a few weddings. Ultimately went on to a corporate career for many years, but about 12 years ago when the new digital cameras came out and were affordable, I said that might be the signal to come back into the business, and it's pretty much the way it all transpired. So this is our 12th year as a full-time business.
Oh, congratulations.
Thanks.
Now, when you say weddings, I'm considering like negatives and dark rooms. Is that the kind of wedding?
In the old days, of course,
Yeah.
yes. And it was nerve-wracking to put those canisters of film in an envelope and send them away to be processed.
Oh, wow.
Thankfully, they always did come back, but it was definitely nerve-wracking.
Right.
And I think for that reason, the digital world that we're in today is one that I would never go back to film for that reason.
Because you have a
I
lot of
love the
backup.
digital backups and
Wow.
the instantaneous aspect, being able to post an image at times. You're technically capable of posting an image before the wedding is even done even if we're back home at our studio.
Oh, wow.
But certainly by the next day, we like to post a preview image.
Like a teaser almost.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow. And how
A
did,
little preview. Oh, I got into it because of Russ.
oh, wow.
Right. I met Russ, and I knew he was a wedding photographer, and there was never any pressure. He said one day, just take a look. Showed me how to use this camera. I just followed along, and I had a mentor 24/7. So that's how he got me into it.
She had the eye for it. I saw what she did when we first met with
Right.
her BlackBerry. We would be walking down the street and she'd see something like a bicycle in a snowbank, and she'd go, "Oh, stop! I have to photograph that."
So
I'm
you could
thinking,
capture that moment.
Right.
That's not just average. There's a latent
So there's a thought.
creative
yeah.
aspect of
Right.
Liz in there, and I helped her.
So do you
pull
consider
that
yourself
out.
like a second shooter, or not like?
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Is,
Yes.
is that a term that you guys use?
We're more of
a
a
team?
team as
Yeah.
opposed to a second. A second shooter denotes kind of a sub-tier level, and
Okay.
we really have each a very distinct role on wedding day,
So the both of you attend the wedding?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
all the time,
So
every wedding.
somebody takes the bride and somebody takes the groom. Is that how you sort of separate your time?
And it depends upon how much time a bride has contracted us for. But sometimes if the groom is too far away getting prepared, we catch up with them at the church.
Okay.
And a lot of times we'll do just the entire wedding from start to finish.
And so that would mean, do you do one event a weekend, or do you do more than one, like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or do you just do?
It's what we do. So we can't do more than one per day.
Yep.
But in the height of season, we have been known each year to do a Friday, Saturday, and a Sunday.
Wow.
As the schedule dictates. So.
How do you feel about receiving lines? This is something, because photographers have told me before, and I'm trying to get people not to do them anymore, because it's an old way of doing. I think it's like 1980, 1990, around there is in those period. Do they take up a lot of time? Because I feel like they're a time burglar. So you're just capturing the same photo. Do you try to get your clients not to do that so they have more time to do other photos?
We like to take them off-site if possible and do our creative and artistic photos. And so to have a receiving line does take away from that, but sometimes it happens accidentally. They come out of the church and they're so excited and they're so happy, and people start gathering, and it just happens.
I think maybe it's less than 10% of the time, so we're happy about that. The only time we wouldn't really, that they may be able to afford the time would be is if we had done a first look with the couple, which is something that we really encourage. We don't require it, but we encourage it because it helps build the schedule.
A first look for some people You want to explain the first look a little bit?
The first look is when the bride and the groom see each other prior to the actual ceremony. So it's in an orchestrated private location. As photographers, the first thing we look for is nice light, and then a private location, and then we orchestrate that first look, and we love it. I mean,
Which then
motion-
allows you to take all of your photos and enjoy your cocktail hour.
Precisely.
Right.
Wow.
Which further allows the couple to enjoy their reception because they've socialized a good degree during their cocktail hour.
And it goes by really fast, so this really puts all of that earlier in the day almost. So if the wedding's, let's say, at 4, you can
Right.
take care of all that about 2:30 and have them sort of relax before they go down the aisle.
Yes,
And
yes,
catch
yes.
that moment that you really need right before you go, because you get nervous. You really do.
You're anxious, you're nervous, and
Great idea.
this helps to put couples at ease because there's a lot of pressure. You're walking down an aisle, you might have 200
eyes are
people,
on you.
all eyes on you, and your knees get wobbly and you think, oh gosh, here I go.
We think the final testimony about a first look is, and we've done this, countless hundreds of times with couples, not one couple has ever said, we wish we hadn't done that.
Nice.
Conversely, it's universally, we're so glad we did it.
Right.
And since you talked about going down the aisle and having 200 eyes on you, how do you feel? Because one of the things when I go down the aisle and I tell everybody to please turn their cell phones off, there are a lot of weddings now that want an unplugged wedding.
Right.
And how do you feel about that? Because it is kind of crazy having people turn around and start snapping photos while you're doing your job that you were hired to do. What are your thoughts on that?
Right. Yeah.
We, along with the first look, the other counseling that we suggest to our couples is to have an unplugged wedding. The problem with all the phones, and it isn't that we can't work around it, because we do. In fact, the wedding this past weekend was intended to have been unplugged, but that word didn't really get communicated clearly to the guests, so it was anything but unplugged. So there was a sea of smartphone screens visible from our perspective. And yes, once in a while somebody raises a hand and blocks a shot, but as pros we know how to work around that. The problem is, though, is that those people that are busily using their smartphones and tablets are really not paying attention to the wedding. And we love to know that
Be
when
in
the
the moment.
devices are gone.
Right.
Yep.
Right. In many cases, our weddings are destination weddings. And so we love to be able to, during the ceremony, turn and get photos of people attending.
Yeah.
We love to see the emotion. And when you're met with a phone in front of a face, you think, oh gosh, that's really too bad.
Yeah.
This could have been a perfect moment, but there's a phone there instead of an expression.
But sometimes it's out of our control, and when it is a wedding where the camera use is allowed, we just turn around like we do when it's bad light. We try to turn the situation around and capitalize on it. So when there's a sea of phones, we take pictures
Take
of
a
the back
picture.
of the phones, and sometimes it's kind of just a fun thing. So
And when a client, from start to finish, how long does the process take? So if I were hiring you, how long does it normally take from the moment I meet you to getting all of my photos and everything done?
Gosh.
We meet with clients over a year in advance, of course, from wedding day. And we're really proud of our post-wedding process because, like we alluded to before when we were talking about film, we post a sample image generally the next day.
Right.
And then we work on what we call our blog post, which is on our blog, within 2 to 3 days. And that blog post is the capsule summary of our
Right.
top
50,
60,
60.
75 images. And we love it because the clients are often on their honeymoon at this point in time. And we get the feedback through Facebook or through email that they are, well, we have a couple away right now in London, and we have received 3 mails from her saying, I'm
obsessed."
with my images, and I cannot
feel-
stop
isn't that a good
looking at my
feeling?
wedding,
It's a great
wedding
feeling,
photos.
yeah.
And then after that, even in the height of season, it's about 6 weeks to get the full set.
And what do you get? Do you get albums? How does it work with digital? So I always try to ask this of different photographers because they all have a different response on this part.
Right. So we give them a website that they can look at, that they
Okay.
can share.
They can pick what they want. Is that how that works?
It's just, those are all of the finished files that we send them, and then we also send them a flash drive.
Wow.
And then some of our packages, when they so
Will include
choose,
an album.
do include an album.
And I've said this before, I love holding pictures. Albums are really important to me because when you get your digital disc or the flash drive,
Right.
and I'm sorry I'm showing my age, but I always tell everybody get an album. It's so worth it, and that's something you can put together as well.
Right.
I'm a fan. You want to say something I'm obsessed about? Pictures, an actual photo. So.
An album is a handheld
Yeah.
storybook of the day. What couples are sometimes surprised at is that we basically select the images that make the album. Now they get a chance to revise and comment, and if they don't like what we've put together, we'll make it work. However, they're very surprised and pleased with what we put together. Little snippets of the day that when you start at the front of the album and work to the end, it tells the story of their day.
Nice.
And it's technology proof. It will be there 100 years from now.
How about storing? Say, God forbid, somebody has a fire and they've lost.
It
their flash.
happens.
How long are you supposed to hold on to these files? I mean, do you have to hold on them forever, or is it like an 8-year?
We don't have to. We give our clients the option when they're being delivered their files. We let them choose if they wish to be the holder of the master files. But we have very low-cost options where we archive the files in addition to their copy.
Wow, that's good.
And it's peace of mind.
Yeah.
Peace of mind. And we have a very dedicated backup system. I mean, before we go to bed the night after a wedding, the night of a wedding, we have made 3 additional copies of every raw image that we photographed that day. And one of those sets is located off-site. So we have our bases covered.
It's pretty foolproof. Those thumb drives are small. They can very easily be lost.
Exactly, yeah.
Right.
And the other thing is, for the finished product on the thumb drive, how many do you get in there? Like, how many photos are your actual day? Do you get them all, or do you just get a small amount?
They get everything we photographed, except in the case where we took multiple images to get one photo, such as of a bridal portrait, or many of our artistic images. They get the best one of that.
Got it.
But the answer ends up being about 50 or 60
50 to 60 per
hour that we've worked.
That's not bad.
So if we're there for 10 hours, 500 to 600 images.
Holy moly, that's
Right.
great. So and then they're already cleaned up and
Yes.
and proofed
Yes.
and all that.
Yeah,
Right.
these are edited images.
Wow, that's
So they're
excellent.
ready for printing, ready for viewing on a screen.
Right.
As the case
Ready
may be.
for an album.
What is one of your favorite locations to work? Like that you
have
know, everybody
many.
has that one location that they love, and do you like outdoors? Do you like by the water? Do you?
We're coastal Maine, wedding photographers. We actually love churches, unlike some wedding photographers. We love churches. We love the
love churches.
beauty and the architecture, the solemnity and the reverence. That said, we do lots of outdoor weddings and civil services too. But location-wise, I don't know, maybe Kennebunkport.
Yeah.
Kennebunkport's a huge favorite.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
it's so picturesque. There are so many great venues there. There are some beautiful churches there.
And we like trying to, because we do photograph in places like Kennebunkport and Portland and Camden so often, we do try to shake it up a little bit so that
It looks a little
client
different.
A and
Right.
B's
And I've
images
noticed that
look different.
when we go into your photos, I've noticed that because I asked you a couple of the photos, which we can bring up some of these photos if you want to talk about this one here. That's incredible. Where's that?
So that's in Jackson, New Hampshire. That was taken last October. Just a gorgeous fall day.
And
That's up in the way to Canada? Is that Jackman or?
Jackson, New Hampshire.
Okay.
Right. And what this image typifies what we like to do and what many couples hire us to do, and that is incorporating the scenery with them as a small percentage of the image is a place location. So.
It's a phenomenal photo.
Oh, thanks. Liz did that one.
That's great.
This is in downtown Portland.
And it's completely, I'm going to assume old port because of the bricks back by
Actually, it's over by the Weston.
Over by the Weston.
Really?
Yeah, near Congress
See,
Street.
it's like a whole day. You can't even tell.
We love taking an urban location and putting the beautiful bride and bridal party in those
Wow.
places, and then letting them have fun. This is an example of we try not to pose people. We try to let them be who they are.
Right.
Very cool.
This is the same group. We do things with our special effects. I call it with shallow depth of field, where the primary subject is sharp
Wow.
and the subsidiary information is a little bit out of focus. Just the kind of things we love to do. capturing moments, live
on the dance
moments on the
floor.
dance floor.
Wow, her dress spun perfect. I mean,
Isn't it
that's an
gorgeous?
incredible
Yes,
shot because her dress is spinning and you can almost feel it, or just that emotion.
It's a case of where still images can actually really surpass the, a video image, because that's just a moment that just has a lot of story that goes with it. Another example where the couple is in a very natural location, and
Interacting in their own special way.
we let them go. We just say, walk this way, and every now and then look at each other, bend and kiss, turn, look, and
Sort of create the moment,
results.
yeah.
Right.
Let them create it.
and then we love details. Liz is great at helping me with these, setting them up. I do the photography on the details, and she does the setup. And
Is that on a mirrored glass or
actually on the
The
piano.
piano.
really?
Yeah, mirrored
I never.
black.
Wow,
Yeah,
it's
a very
polished.
shiny black piano.
Yes.
And bridal portraits is something
She's
that we
stunning.
love
She's
to do.
beautiful.
Yes.
I said that earlier.
Yeah,
Great
she's,
picture. And she's from the Nonantum, right?
Yes.
Yes, that's Ariel from the Nonantum, and we just had a wonderful time photographing her wedding.
It's a great location.
And
That's a
then-
shout out to Tim there.
Right.
Absolutely.
We love working there.
We love it. And Liz is good at capturing details. All these things that the brides have spent so much money on for wedding day, it is just awesome to make sure they have, including the food.
Yeah.
Make sure they have photos of this.
Exactly.
to
And the
remember
room
by.
too,
The
because
room,
that says a lot.
yeah.
Right. First dance photos
We
tell
do-
such a great story.
I love that they're the focal and everything else is. I like that look.
It's a special lens that we use that allows us to not use flash, so it's very unobtrusive. Coupled with our cameras in a silent shutter mode, the couples don't even know that we're capturing these. And we're a little bit of a distance away, but they're totally isolated. And when you have a couple that has that connection and communication between themselves, as these did, it's just a
Just
priceless
beautiful.
moment.
And it's funny because both of them have their eyes closed.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes that works
This
the
is a
best.
great shot too. I said that too earlier.
So that's Sabasco Resort, and we like to find the perfect spot
it's
at the
beautiful.
perfect time of day with our couples, and they of course love it as well.
I love the canoes in the background. Were those just there?
They were
They
just
were
there.
there. Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting. 2 canoes, bride and groom, sort of kind of just those little details. I love to spot those.
This is an example of where the average, if somebody was over our shoulder taking the same shot with an iPhone or a camera phone or any other camera for that
It would
matter,
look very
it would
different.
not look the same, because where we have ripples in the water, in actuality, there were 2 plastic paddle boats there that we took our artistic license and we removed using Photoshop.
Little Photoshop.
Much better.
Little Photoshop there.
Would
I
have
like
wrecked-
this
It would have
better.
wrecked that image for sure.
Oh, I like that.
Again,
I
quiet.
like the dark. Can I say the darkness of it? I love the way it looks. It
Yeah,
just,
it's a high contrast black and white,
Right.
and black and white
There-
works great on wedding day.
There are some photos that just really speak to us in black and white. You can take a color photo, and there may be a lot of color to it, and the bride and groom get lost. And as soon as you convert it to black and white, they really pop out.
wow.
This
It's a dreamy night there. Is that winter?
This was in the winter, in January.
It's a gorgeous day.
in Freeport, Maine, at the Hilton Garden Inn. We were packing up our gear. I was putting, we're getting ready to leave for the night, actually. Our time was finished, putting gear away in the car. And these large snowflakes just started to fall. And I said to Liz, should we take the couple out? And Liz says, it never hurts to ask.
Always ask.
Always ask. And I said, could you
This
come
is a
out
great
for
shot.
just 2 minutes? So I set up my little lights ahead of time. We had lights behind them and one light forward with our radio transmitters. Popped the couple shots, and wow,
was it.
this shot has traveled quite a bit. It's on the Freeport USA site.
Oh, wow.
Amtrak used it, and our couple in the hotel love it, of course. So. Actually, we've sold quite a few weddings from this shot. The problem is that we can't guarantee
We
snow on the
all the
wedding.
We
time.
can't recreate that, right?
It's a once in a lifetime moment, right?
And quiet moment after a first look.
I like that she's holding her bouquet behind
her.
her like
yeah.
that.
Just adds a little splash of color.
Just a natural little moment where you can just feel the emotion between the two.
That's a great picture too. Oh my goodness.
And again, in the White
Again,
Mountains.
Jackson.
I think that I love all the rocks and the water and the trees and it's just beautiful.
The
Oh my
dramatic
God,
sky.
Yeah, it's just-
Yeah, the clients love it, of course. So this was a
action
little
shot.
journalistic moment. These three bridesmaids had been given
We're
okay
peeking, yeah.
by the bride to peek during the first look. And of course, we like to look. We like to think we have eyes behind us too, especially when there's two of us shooting.
Nice.
And Liz noticed that these gals were
Get a load of these three,
a
right?
load of these three. So we love times like that. And then of course, once in a while, we're blessed with some beautiful skies. This is at Wolf's Neck Farm in Freeport.
That's a great
Valerie and
location.
Trevor as they're looking out over the water.
And she's got that gorgeous
Her dress is
train.
beautiful,
Yes.
yeah.
And this spot held close meaning for them. And they had asked that we do a photo there, and it was just a blessing that the sky is as it was that day. So we love it. We have a great time.
I love little kids in photos.
kids.
So cute. Oh, little flower girls and ring bearers.
The
They're
can-
always
You're
special.
renegades because you never know what they're going to do.
So unexpected.
The candid moments are what work, for a case like this. If you get the kids to
little
try to
relics,
pose,
yeah.
it's not the same. So,
Just let them be themselves. Oh, that's
right.
wow.
Again, a spot that was special to the couple. They brought us there in Western Mass and brought us to the top of a hill. And
It's sort of like that moment with Scarlett O'Hara when she was at the tree. That just popped into my head and going with the wind. So it's beautiful.
And
Oh my
again, as
goodness.
Liz was explaining, it's another example where black and white is more powerful than color
Right.
Yeah.
in a shot like this. It's all about the shapes and the patterns, textures, and of course your eye goes to the bride and groom down under the tree.
Oh, this is
colors are beautiful here.
Right. This was one of those days last summer, and we always hope that there's going to be a gorgeous sunset, and sometimes there just isn't. It just doesn't happen. And we looked outside, and we'd been looking at our watches, thinking, okay, we need to go outside at sunset, and we looked outside, and we ran out, and my thought was, because this is very much what it looked like, I thought, I have never seen the water look like it's on fire
I
before.
know.
And that's right in Kennebunkport,
Wow.
Cape Porpoise. And, I sometimes look at that and think it looks fake, but it was so real.
And with the patterns in her dress,
Right.
And the pattern, because the ovals, all the circles that she has in there, I think everything really works really
So much
well.
texture.
Yeah.
We were ready for this shot because while we didn't know that it was going to be a spectacular sunset, our
Right.
plans were to go out at sunset, which meant that we had our little portable off-camera flash ready. And that's why, without that equipment, the bride and groom would have been a silhouette. So it works so well to the point that some people have thought that we pasted and photoshopped the couple into that image, but
Right.
actually it is exactly the way it was in real life.
That's
and
a cool
again,
shot.
we love, this is in York Harbor, we love incorporating the bride and groom as a small percentage.
Where were you standing to take that photo?
There's a bridge.
Oh, okay.
And of course, sometimes it takes a few moments to say, well, that's nice, but where's the bride and groom? But then you see them there. And of course, in this
I missed them too.
Yeah.
Because I was so fascinated with the photo that.
Right.
But they're there, and of course, there's a rain shower. If you look on the horizon, there's quite a shower coming our way, which just added to the drama.
I like
So
it.
we love drama. We love first dances.
This couple was a great dance. They were great dancers. Big, wide dance floor, band in the background, and they were just out there having fun. I love the action. And there they are again. They were just a sweet couple.
Just a real quiet moment.
place.
She had
Point lookout.
This
very-
is a really interesting photo because it's just the chair,
Yes. Yeah.
them, and there's no detail in the room, which
Right.
I love.
Right. We try to keep a certain area clean. See, what's going on here is that she had purchased the surfboard for her husband to
Yeah.
be as his wedding present.
And he had no
He
idea,
had
so
no
it's a
idea.
surprise.
This was a big moment for her. This is something she'd planned for months.
Was the room like that, or
Pretty much.
and then you didn't have to take any photos down or anything, right?
No, this room is pretty
Perfect.
clean at
Pretty
this
clean.
particular
I like
venue,
it.
which
Yeah.
is unique.
Point Lookout, which is in Northport, and we do a lot there.
And it's a wide lens. The room is not quite as big as it really looks, but it's a wide
great
lens.
shot.
It's corrected for architectural correctness. The verticals are vertical. But the point being is that it's just a true moment.
I like the fact she still has her bouquet. Like
Yes.
she didn't lose the bouquet to just go show him that. I mean, it's still in her hand, so she's like still in the moment, you know?
That's one of the things we love. And this is actually, I won a national award with this particular shot.
Oh, congratulations.
The hora at a Jewish wedding couldn't possibly be anything that we enjoy doing any more than that. And
We'll be doing that soon on
yes, that's right.
in
Couple
October.
weeks.
Yeah.
So yeah, just a super fun moment.
That's a good picture. I like the
Alice
color.
Head General Store in
Port Clyde. Port
Yeah.
Clyde General Store.
Yeah. Yep, that's right, Port Clyde. Sorry, that's what it says. And then we love putting our bridal party together on a breakwater, as we did here in Kennebunkport, and a quiet moment on the marsh in Scarborough. And real life moments. We had this couple out for a couple of portraits, and then when we were done, they in glee said, "Look."
They were just so excited.
Look at our
So
rings.
excited.
And we keep our cameras, I keep my finger right on the right on the shutter, ready to go. So it's a matter of just lifting the camera up and grabbing it. This was one of our favorite images of all of last year. Liz took this one. It's a bride with real tears, and that's her husband-to-be's
Wiping them.
Yeah.
hand gently wiping the tears. And again, an example of real life moments. Something funny happened during this ketubah signing at another Jewish wedding, and we just love it. Liz took this.
Were you on the lift?
No, I was on the ground.
Really?
They were coming right for me just before the landing point.
I was in the.
I give them a lot of credit because I wouldn't get on those. They're too high.
I was in the chair behind them, but again, having two photographers, I can get one view, but Liz's view being that she had walked up the summit a little way to get this as they arrived. I think it just speaks volumes for what happens when you have two photographers. Just a beautiful shot. And we love barns. We love this kind of architecture like
Doors and
The door
old
and
buildings.
that mustard yellow look
Yeah.
really good together.
Right.
this, for sure. And again, the same couple in Booth Bay Harbor.
Booth Bay Harbor.
This photo's been
Again.
published a few times as well.
Dramatic skies happening.
And in the background, to the left of the bride, is the church that they had just been married in. So the little Catholic church in Booth Bay Harbor. This is at the Inn at Ocean's Edge in Lincolnville. And we love this shot that we do with our bridal party, walking up the center of the road. This is in York Beach. Our fisheye lens
Nice.
in downtown Portland. We love doorways. This is during an engagement shoot. And this is at the Cliff House in Gunquit.
All the texture of the cliffs, just beautiful.
This is Ariel again. We saw her bridal portrait. This is her and Kevin having fun during their engagement session.
Yeah.
And again, it's something we try our best. Not all couples may be as photogenic or as comfortable
Behind
when the lens is pointing at them, but we try to encourage it, and doing an engagement session is a great example of something that we can do to really have them understand and appreciate how fun the photos can be.
Right.
That's a good picture.
Inside the church. Liz loves details. These are the groom's cufflinks. This is in Boston.
It's a great shot too.
That's near Fenway Park with that same couple. And this couple, again, they met bowling, so they brought us down to Boston to the bowling alley they met at.
Interesting how her ball's up in the air and his
Right.
is down.
His
So
is
she had a
just-
little bit more force.
That's right.
So much fun.
Just an example of all the many fun things we get to
Playing
do.
limbo at a wedding.
And, well,
Crazy
Is that a
dancing.
beer bong?
it is.
Yes.
You never know what's going to happen. So we like to think that we're always at the ready, and
That's
that
a
takes
great
us
shot.
back to
So
the
we're back
beginning.
to that one.
Yeah.
So how do you, one of the questions that I have for you too, how do you feel about the hashtags and the Instagrams that are happening now? Follow me here. So people are just posting pictures all over the place. How do you feel about that at the receptions?
You know, we've had a little bit of that, but every time we, look at the hashtags, sometimes people are taking all the photos, but they're not actually posting them with the hashtag.
Everybody has said the same thing. They're sort of, you do all this effort to do it and you get like
Right.
3 photos.
Right.
And that's it. So I was wondering, and I heard you say about being published. How many years now published in magazines?
Oh, quite a few. I was pretty much at the beginning with Real Maine Weddings magazine. I've been featured on the cover many times,
Nice.
and have
Congratulations.
had several weddings featured in the editorial portion of the magazine, as well as many, many details. So, yeah,
Good. And awards too, I heard you say too. So that's
from
congratulations.
professional level awards, yes.
Awesome. And how do clients find you?
A lot of it's word of mouth.
Word of mouth? Facebook, Pinterest, Twitter?
Well, direct word of mouth.
Right.
Client, referrals. You photograph my friend's wedding and you come highly recommended. I'd say half, do you think?
I would say probably half, and then maybe another 25% from the venues themselves will refer a lot of people in our direction.
And how do you use social media to your benefit, like Facebook, websites, things like that? Is that
We're
something-
on there all the time. We don't advertise on there. You can do a sponsored ad. We typically don't do that, but we make sure that we post on a regular basis just to keep things in people's news feeds.
So check them out on their website and on their Facebook page and like them. As always, thank you for joining us on Maine Wedding Buzz. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks
It's
for
been
having
fun.
us.
Pleasure.